Rudy Giuliani can basically kiss his Palm Beach County condo goodbye, get ready to turn the title and the keys over to Ruby Freeman and Shay as they try to collect on their $148 million defamation judgment because a Trump-appointed federal judge, you heard it right, a Trump-appointed federal judge has just ruled against Rudy Giuliani in a hearing, found him in contempt for failing to turn over any kind of appropriate documents or discovery in the case against him, and as a sanction, entered an adverse inference. I'm going to describe what an adverse inference is, why it is an appropriate way to handle somebody like Rudy Giuliani, and what it means for the condo. I'm Michael Popak. You're on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Let's get into it. I said earlier in another hot take related to this matter that we're running out of ways to sanction and punish Rudy Giuliani. When you don't have anything, it's hard to have a really a sanction with any kind of teeth in it. You know, money fines aren't going to do it because he's out of money and all of it goes to Ruby Freeman and Shay anyway. And what I said a couple of days ago is that it's likely there's going to be an adverse inference, meaning the judge is going to make an inference against Rudy Giuliani concerning the Mar-a-Lago condo, particularly his main defense to turning over this condo is that he registered himself as a resident of Florida before the $148 million judgment was recorded. And therefore, he gets the benefit, if that's true, of homestead law protection in Florida, which is a debtor's rights law, very unique in Florida. It's one of the reasons deadbeats go to Florida, invest a lot of money in their houses, because it protects it. It's creditor protected that way. But you have to get it right. You got to file for residency and file for homestead protection with the tax assessor's office, tax appraiser's office, and you've got to have the dates line up appropriately with the judgment that's swimming around in the waters against you. And if you do all that, you may be given that kind of benefit. So there was a fight before Judge Lyman, this federal judge in New York, about these very issues, and a separate hearing that's been scheduled to go over it. Rudy's always said, I established it 3 days before the judgment. I've got the driver's license. I've got voter registration card. I've got this or that. Except there's a lot of counter evidence that he was trying to be a resident of Rhode Island like a day before. And he wasn't turning over the documents. He said, he's got all the documents, Judge. I got all the documents in a box in my apartment and condo in Palm Beach. I'll get it. One day I'll turn it over. Maybe I can get there. I'm an old guy. I'm sorry. I'm slow. And the judge says, enough. You've had 8 months to turn over the documents. You haven't turned them over. I am now going to assume for this contempt hearing and my finding of contempt that whatever was in that box, whatever was in those folders wasn't helpful to you. Because if it was, you would have turned it over. So I'm going to assume that what you have is stuff that's against you, that would not only not prove your case, but would prove the case against you that you never registered for residency, you never filed for homestead protection prior to this judgment coming into existence. With that, if that's the adverse inference, which it is, because the judge read it out loud today, I agree with Rudy Giuliani's lawyer, Joe Camarata, for once. It is the death penalty, economically anyway, to Rudy Giuliani, because he has no way to defend against the turnover that's required of that condo. The only way that condo wouldn't be turned over by law to the judgment creditor is if it had homestead protection and it was in Florida. Once that's gone, boom, that whole $4 or $5 million Mar-a-Lago adjacent condo, boom, goes over to the creditors. And as it should. This is what happens when you F around and find out. Now, this is not the only time I'm going to do a hot take about Rudy Giuliani in contempt. Would you believe on Friday, in a related case, he's before a District Columbia judge, a DC judge, on a contempt hearing that he has to appear in which he's going to have to tell the judge why, despite the fact that he signed and agreed to an order of the court, why he continued to bash Ruby Freeman and Shay and defame them on his podcast about voter fraud when it was a lie, in violation of the court order. That's another round of contempt. And of course, the judge here is going to know about what Judge Lyman just did, but there's no more adverse inferences and there's no real money. Rudy could really be looking at jail time in DC because we're running out of ways to discipline him. Money's not going to do it because that's Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss's money. He doesn't seem to care about anything else. He just got an adverse inference against him. There's no adverse inference a counterpart in the DC case. He's going to go to jail for a few days. Instant martyrdom in MAGA world. But I think that's all the judge has at her disposal. You can't just rap him on the knuckles. She already, in the original underlying case, she already defaulted him into a default judgment for his 9 different violations of court orders. Money didn't do it. And I don't think he paid the money. He owed like $50,000 or $60,000 to Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. I'm not sure he paid that money off. We'll continue to follow it. Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Help us grow to 500,000 in the first quarter of 2025. We can do it with your help, and I do appreciate it. And I curate everything here. I do a lot of the content. I got Court Accountability Action, Dina Dahl, we got Shan Wu, and everybody else you've come to respect and enjoy here on the Legal AF YouTube channel. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.